In 2024, artificial intelligence is all the rage. But what is intelligence? You should be very skeptical you have any real idea, because our notion of intelligence and our tests for measuring it are deeply shaped by America's eugenic past. That's right, we did that here, led by intellectual leaders like David Starr Jordan. Hey, you know that name? He was IU Bloomington's president first. In the early 20th century, states like Indiana and California sterilized so many feeble-minded and insane people, we inspired Nazis. With that in mind, let's talk about the Stanford Binet intelligence test. In 1905, Alfred Binet and Théodore Simon published the first modern intelligence test to help the French government identify students who were, and this is part of the word's history, mentally retarded. Then, in 1916, Louis Terman, who'd gotten his BA and MA right here at IU Bloomington, published the Stanford revision and extension of the Binet-Simon scale for measuring intelligence. And yep, he's also a eugenicist. Here's how he summarizes the work he's building on. Binet's conception of intelligence emphasizes three characteristics of the thought process. One, its tendency to take and maintain a definite direction. Two, the capacity to make adaptations for the purpose of attaining a desired end. And three, the power of auto-criticism. If I give you an end to work towards, can you direct yourself, adapt self-critically, and find the means to get there? How effectively can you achieve arbitrary goals? Our modern conception of intelligence is basically unchanged. Intelligence is the computational part of the ability to achieve goals in the world. That's why IQ tests are full of silly little puzzles. The goals don't really matter. Intelligence is about how good you are at effectively pursuing them. Some of the best philosophical work on intelligence today understands it as a scientifically useful construct. We read intelligence off of behaviors that are often enough general, flexible, goal-directed, and adaptive. But if intelligence is just the ability to pursue arbitrary ends in a variety of circumstances, intelligence has a general structure. Steve Omohundro notes we should expect any sufficiently intelligent agent to share certain goals, right? Acquiring resources, protecting yourself, even improving yourself. These are all things that will help you achieve more and more goals in a wider variety of circumstances. But improving yourself is interesting, because as you improve yourself, you become more intelligent, which makes you more effective at improving yourself over time. And eventually you get an intelligence explosion, a point at which AI becomes so effective at improving itself, it becomes super effective within a short period of time. Thus, the first ultra-intelligent machine is the last invention that man need ever make, provided that the machine is docile enough to tell us how to keep it under control. Sure, let's make a nigh omnipotent being and hope it doesn't eat us. Remember, we are a genuine competitor for resources and a threat to its survival. It's broadly accepted in AI circles today that we should expect an intelligence explosion eventually. AI boosters are 50% confident we'll get there by 2045 and 90% confident we'll get there by 2100. This guy puts the odds of an intelligence explosion by 2100 at between 0.2 and 70%. So, how likely is it it's likely? But if intelligence is just the ability to do whatever, how about wisdom? In superintelligence, AI ethicist Nick Bostrom says, we can think of wisdom as the ability to get the important things approximately right. Yes, he has said some worrying things. Okay, let's start over with Aristotle. For Aristotle, practical wisdom is about knowing how to live well, not just how to make stuff happen. Picking the right ends matters too. But how do you choose the right ends and live well? Some have read Book 6 in the hope that Aristotle would provide us with an explicit rule or principle that we might apply. Their hope has been disappointed since no such rule is forthcoming, nor should we expect one. Aristotle frequently says that ethics is not capturable in a set of explicit principles, and makes it clear that practical wisdom is less a capacity to apply rules than an ability to see situations correctly. Aristotle thinks learning to live well is an inescapably ethical project. And I do think we agree. No matter how successful these fools are in terms of money and power, the more you read about their lives, the sadder they seem. Becoming a moral, virtuous person is at the very heart of living well. So, how would you teach virtue to an AI? Maybe you wouldn't have to. Can we expect a super intelligent AI to be wise by default? Aristotle doesn't think so. Though the young become proficient in geometry and mathematics and wise in matters like these, they do not seem to be practically wise. Hear that, nerds? He's talking to you. Surely it is because mathematics is a matter of abstraction, while the first principles of wisdom or natural science come from experience. Math is the study of patterns, and it's really useful for solving a wide variety of technical problems. But it's not the only tool you need. Just because you're really intelligent and good at math doesn't mean you won't be a eugenicist. And learning the right things from our experiences doesn't just take time and care. It takes a moral education. And why couldn't an AI learn that? In the 90s, we got a little too excited comparing brains and computers, but it is true that brains are physical systems. So why couldn't an AI learn to do what we do? So here's the question. Could there be a wisdom explosion? That is, a point at which an AI becomes so wise that further reflection makes it super wise within a short period of time. I don't think it's a technical question. It's a question about what wisdom is like and whether super wisdom is even possible. We definitely can get better at learning to live well. You understand what's really important better than toddlers do. You have a richer ethical understanding. And you do believe in historical moral progress. Rejecting slavery as evil is a clear case of historical moral progress where our moral practices improved. And even when some people disagreed, they were wrong and self-deceiving, and it's good they didn't win. But are we at the end point of moral history? Remember, in the US, segregation is in living memory, and lead pipes are still in lots of black neighborhoods. It's really hard to argue that our moral practices today are maximally self-aware and self-consistent, right? And that means that our notion of living well may still be seriously deformed. It's not so long ago that we accepted the divine right of kings. I bet there's still plenty of moral progress to be made. And there may be many more leaps in understanding that surprise us or fundamentally transform our understanding of what morality requires. So why should we expect to recognize super wisdom if it comes? We disagree among ourselves about what liberty or justice requires. Are we really wise enough to recognize our own commitments in improved form? Or would we confuse, say, an AI's moral progress for moral regress? Remember, it's not easy to have these discussions in your own family across a few generations, right? Movies from a few decades ago haven't aged well. Now imagine there's an AI dozens or hundreds of generations ahead of us on moral progress. Its moral understanding would be very different from ours. Should we defer to its arguments and trust its moral understanding is probably better? Or should we demand arguments that speak to our foolish, relatively early stage of moral inquiry and understanding? Just how much wisdom, moral wisdom, do we actually think is possible? These aren't technical questions, they're philosophical questions, and ones we'll want pretty good answers to. After all, super intelligent beings may be able to persuade us with what Bostrom calls social manipulation superpowers, knowing just what to say to leverage external resources by recruiting human support, enable a boxed AI to persuade its gatekeepers to let it out, or persuade states and organizations to adopt some course of action. So even if an AI justifies its odd views compellingly, why trust its winning with sound moral arguments and not just cunningly persuasive rhetoric? I don't know. I don't think moral progress has a clear endpoint for us to reach or a single path for us to follow. Moral inquiry isn't the kind of thing you can calculate out and get a perfect score in. You can't calculate out jazz either, but there are undeniably better and worse ways of playing. Herbie Hancock is better than me. I've made very rudimentary jazz progress. But moral progress might be even harder. We grow up eating meat and dividing the world into boys and girls and calling bad ideas stupid and crazy. How deeply can we question these things? We've always done it this way. Slavery has always existed in every great civilization. This process is still ongoing, where we think we understand ourselves and make grand proclamations about the unchanging necessities of human nature. How much further might we have to go? You may have heard of the alignment problem, which is all about how humans and AI will get along and share one another's values. But it isn't just a matter of maintaining control and aligning the AI to our will. We may have to grow in philosophical sophistication too. And I think we have a long way to go.